And now the Office of the National Chief Imam has welcomed the proposals by the Seventh-day Adventist Church for a review of the December 7 date for the general elections. The SDA Church says many of their church members could be disenfranchised because the election date coincides with Saturday, the Sabbath day dedicated to the worship of God. Additionally, the church is making calls for legislation that will ensure that no election in Ghana henceforth will take place on a day of religious significance. Director of Public Affairs and Religious Liberty for the SDA Church, Dr. Solis Asafo, tells me that aside a petition to the Electoral Commission, the National Chief Imam has also been engaged on this matter.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. These words of the Holy Bible for any Christian must be and should be kept sacred. But for the Seventh-day Adventist Church Ghana, their faith is about being tested like never before. Similar to 1996, the presidential and parliamentary elections this year falls on Saturday, December 7. According to the teachings of the church, it will be Sabbath, a day fully dedicated to the worship of God. At the Southern Ghana Union Conference here in Accra, I met Dr. Solis Asafo, Director of Public Affairs and Religious Liberty. She explains to me how the democratic gains of the country will be derailed if provisions are not made to cater for members of this church.
Voting is a civic responsibility. Honoring the Sabbath is a godly responsibility. That's how we see it. As enshrined in the Ten Commandments, he says you have 6 days to do all your work, but you have to rest on the Sabbath day. And you know, sometimes people don't understand, but in that commandment, it says that the Sabbath day is the Sabbath of thy Lord. If it were mine, I would decide on what to do with it. But it's God's, and he says on this day, don't do this or do this. So that's where the conflict comes up. And that's why we think that if there's anything that can be done to change the date, it will help our members.
And now we know that you've sent your petition to the Electoral Commission detailing your concerns and what it is, the challenges you have about December 7th and the need to either move the date to November or try and get a date that will not be a Saturday. Have you taken any other step to raise your concerns to the state and to put across your demands?
In June 2021, we actually had an appearance with the President of the Republic and placed before him our concerns. We followed that up subsequently by writing to the Electoral Commission in February last year, indicating or making a proposal for a change. What we were proposing was not for a date change, but we were proposing a day. So we proposed in our submission to the EC the first Tuesday or a Tuesday in November or December.
Announcing their position on the matter, spokesperson for the National Chief Imam Sheikh Nur Shaributu indicated that the Chief Imam welcomes the suggestion of the SDA Church. He's also been pointing out peculiar challenges to the Muslim community and what they may face if elections were held on a Friday.
For us Islam, yes, Friday is an important day. It's an important day, but it is not a holiday for us. But at a time of prayer, it is prohibited for the Muslim, the true Muslim, to engage in any mundane activity where he sacrifices the worship of God within the time that prayer is in session. The Holy Quran makes it very, very, very clear that whenever the call to pray is made on Friday, he said that stop any other worldly activity and hasten to the remembrance of God. So that is a positive injunction. So it's an injunction for us here within that period. In fact, you cannot sacrifice the prayer in order that you go and cast your vote. Because for us, it's a law in Islam. But the whole day, it is not considered a holiday in such a way that you cannot engage in any activity, because after the prayer, we are permitted to go ahead with our mundane activity. So our challenge is just at the time of our prayer, no Muslim will sacrifice the Friday prayer in order to go and cast, because it is seen as a mundane activity. But we say so in order that we respect the days that are held sacred by the different religions, so that democracy is about participation, and everybody must have the opportunity to be able to cast his vote in a very peaceful and fair environment, without feeling intimidated, without feeling isolated, without feeling constrained or restrained by any circumstance. So for us, if we succeed in really getting a compromise day in which nobody's religious practice is compromised or nobody's religious right, is undermined, I think that it will go a long way to also continue to unify us as a nation, because our unity centers around our mutual recognition, solidarity, cooperation, mutual respect, and these are the very, very ingredients that hold us together as a nation.
While Parliament says it is awaiting legal advice from the Attorney General on this matter, Ho West MP and Member of Parliament's Christian Fellowship, Imam, who does not agree with the position of the church, also argues that the concern of the group should be looked into.
Others from the 7 Days Adventists, the whole country needs to listen to them, and then the whole country will have to take decision. If you look at the numbers that you just called, the 395,000 membership, it clearly shows that they have at least or close to about 1% of Ghana's population. And so it's worth listening to them and also look at the merit in what they've said. Having said that, Evans, the date has been set as per our constitution and as per the instrument brought by Electoral Commission. Our laws or the constitution in Article 63 says that the election should be held, if there's a president and the person is rerunning, it should be held a month before the handing over, or it should be held, it should not be held after 4 months. That means that between October to December, we can hold election so that handing over can be done in January 7th. And so the date for 7th January has been cast in stone, is set in our constitution.